What we're doing is we are repairing the wire harness for a ES300 series rear tail light blinker and license plate harness. They actually come from the factory with these standard bulb holders like this, where the bulb goes in and it clicks in. But actually, the brake version, the brake portions of the harness, which are these black portions here that I've already cut open, corrode as they age. So what we're doing today is we're going to bypass what would normally be this push assembly socket here by actually soldering these very long life. These are Sylvania's Zevo series LED lights. Normally you wouldn't directly solder a bulb into a harness like this, but because these are so long life, you can actually get away with doing that. You don't replace them with any frequency, if at all. So this has a sense of permanency to it. So what you do is just gonna tin these. I'm just adding the bulbs one at a time. We're just gonna tin the contacts, and these are two dual filament bulbs. What that means is that these lights operate at one lower level. When you have your lights on at night, they operate at just a basic lighting level, and then when you press the brakes, they actually engage the second filament, which makes them much, much brighter. So that's what these two connectors are, low and a high, and then the ground is actually connected to the outer casing here, and you'll see how that is in a second. So normally these actually connected by sliding down in the socket and twisting to lock in, but instead I've actually pulled the wires up and cut the bottom of the socket out. Pulled the wires up and pre-tinned them with solder, because we're actually going to connect them directly to the bulb itself, and we've pre-marked these with what the high side is. We did that by just a standard test. We just tested it by connecting some leads to it, just to determine that. We determined that which was a high and which was a low, and we marked all of them in advance like that. So we've got an arrow where the high side is, and the high side gets connected to the green wire here. Why don't you give me a hand there? I just need you to hold it up. You can hold it with one hand. Just boom. Go the other way with the other hand. Yeah, there you go. I need you to turn it towards me. The other way. Come back that way. There you go. I won't burn, I promise. I'm just going to single connect here. This is the high connector. And then the lime green or light green is the low. That's good, you can let go. Once that portion of it's done, what we actually do is get that in there. We're just sending that down in the socket by pulling the wire down.
That's a harness?
Yeah, I mean, this is the harness wire. Normally, this bulb would just slip in the socket here, but what we're doing is actually just, we're only using the socket just to support the bulb. It's not actually being used for a connection anymore. It's just being used to actually mount the bulb. So, and then the side wire here that you see, this is actually the ground wire. And the connection, what we're doing to connect that is actually using underneath.
Which one's the ground wire?
It's a side wire. In this case, it's the white wire.
Okay.
We're actually connecting that to one of the soldering joints that the manufacturer made on the LED light itself. It's just easier to start there. So I'm just going to just warm that up and then take my ground wire and come across it to meet it. Just tie that in, and we don't have any cable ties right now, but normally I would also put a cable tie around the bottom of this just to hold that ground wire in, and we're going to go back and do that before we actually install these, just to get them tightened up so that that ground wire doesn't come out. All right, so we got two of them on, and then there's one more brake light that's got to be.
So we're soldering.
I'm just pre-tinning this, meaning just adding some solder to it so that it can it'll take my new solder. Anytime you're adding, those were actually factory solder. That's actually factory solder on there. Anytime you're going to connect to factory solder, it's always good to put some of your solder on top. This solder has flux in the middle of it, which is actually a chemical that helps the aid in the connection.
It's like a flux core, similar to
absolutely.
welding.
Yep. It's a
It's impurities.
Yep. It actually is like a cleaner that aids in making the connection. Yeah. All right. So again, we've already marked what our high side is there, and we're going to keep Brett from getting his hand burned by this jig here.
This is a high side, low side, or
Yeah, that was the high side, and then the lighter wire is actually low side.
should probably show the packaging. This bulb.
Yeah, you can grab them out of there. These are, like I said, they're Sylvania. These are Sylvania Zevo LEDs.
Which one?
Let's see. This is an 1157 dual element bulb. They are about $11 a piece per bulb, so $22 a pair.
Those are the ones we're
But they
doing now.
They do have a lifetime guarantee on them. So
And that's which ones?
that's these 1157s are what we're using, the dual element bulb here for the brake lights. That's what we're currently putting in. So again, just to show you, after I attach that, I'm just spinning those in and just pulling that back through the socket. See, the socket's now hollow in there. I don't know if you can see. The only thing that's in there is just a rubber gasket at the bottom that seals it up. I've pulled everything else out, which was a bottom that was a metal plate that it normally connected to, and there was also a spring in there because they were spring loaded. That's no longer there because we're not using any of that. So again,
And why were they spring loaded?
They're spring loaded just to hold tension on the bulb, just because the bulb had connected at the bottom onto a plate. That plate was spring loaded, so we put it in and turn it, and it actually would be held in under pressure. But since we're not relying on those connectors anymore, we don't need that. Just was making it easier for the wires to pass through by eliminating everything that we don't need. So we're going to come around.
And that was like this.
No, there's actually a spring in the bottom of the socket that you can't see because we've already taken them out of all the sockets. The sockets were already stripped and prepped. Just getting this ground here. It needs a little bit more solder.
So right now we're
just connecting the ground wire for the actual light. This is that white wire that we're using as a ground. Sometimes it's a struggle. Let's see, there it goes. I'll fix it.
wrong angle.
Yeah, it's just that it's supposed to be a helper, that tool, but it doesn't always do it. I think I actually got the connection. Yeah, it could be better. Let's see. There it goes. Excess there. I'm just gonna clean that off. Side of that bulb there. This is just soldering braid. What it does is just suck up the solder. So you just place it over solder that you want to remove and put heat to it, and it actually draws the solder up into it. Solder is obviously attracted to the most conductive material that it can have access to. So this is pure copper braid. So it is very, very attracted to it. So the solder just wicks right up into it. It's easy removal tool. You can use that or suction to remove solder. But
And that's got nothing to do with the flux.
no. I was just removing some excess solder off there. It's just to remove it. So that's good there. Again, we're going to put a cable. We're going to put a small cable, a zip tie right around the bottom of this, just to hold that all in, hold everything together.
Okay.
So that's it for that one. We are actually going to use the on the rest of this harness. We're going to use the sockets. Only the brake sockets actually had corrosion because they're the ones that have the most amperage and the most use because they're the brakes and the running lights. So actually the turn signal holder and the reverse light holder, and then the two outer ones, which are the license plate holder and just a corner light, corner red light, just part of the brake and running light system. Just a corner light here. They're not corroded. They don't have any corrosion in them at all. So we're just going to continue to use the sockets. There's no reason not to. They're in perfect working order. So just need to determine.
So some of them are corroded. The ones that are corroded,
only the brake lights, the three black ones, have corrosion.
And that's just due to Ohm's law,
the
current.
Absolutely, because the current. Yeah. And these are the 56s, right? The actual turn signals. And
Show the packaging for that.
This is an 1156 bulb, and I'll show you the difference. The only difference in it is that it's a single filament bulb, as opposed to those dual filament bulbs that we're using for the brake lights. And these are just the turn signal bulbs.
And it's a Sylvania Zevo, right?
Yep. Yeah, they only have one connector on the bottom because they only have one filament. This is your actual turn signal. It just comes on and goes off. It doesn't have a varying degree. And then on the, we're actually going to use the regular bulb. The only place that we're going to continue to use a filament bulb in this system is actually for the reversing lights, or for the. This is the light. The only time this light is on is when the transmission's in reverse. So it runs very infrequently, and we'll probably never burn out.
Reverse lights only.
Yeah, that's the white light that comes on as you back the vehicle up. Now the outer ones, and we got to make sure that we have this connected right. The outer ones are going to be. I got to make sure this is the signal and this is the. I got to verify that that's the signal and that is the. This is the turn signal and that's the reverse light. Real quick, I'm not sure what color is which, so I need to do that real quick.
Test it.
So that we don't have the harness turned around backwards. Yeah, I don't want to say. Connect this up. So all we need to do is go ahead and let's go ahead and just you can start the car or just turn the ignition on and let's get a left signal going.
Okay.
Let's see if we have
Just turning it over and hitting the left signal. Is that okay? No. Okay.
Now let's try it again.
Okay. Left signal. It's actually working.
Yeah.
Terrific. All right.
And then this one's going to be the reverse bulb. So when the car is in reverse, that'll come on. So all right, we're good. You can turn that off.
Okay.
You want to go? You can go ahead and hit the brakes.
All right. Light times.
Yeah, turn the blinker off.
Okay.
So we have this is the regular nighttime running lights, and they form a triangle. We have a red bulb at the top just because that was availability. But that's the standard brightness, and then when you use the brakes, brighter, right?
Do that one more time. Yep. And this was the whole entire panel that was replaced that was actually leaking, correct?
Yep. Is we need to add this side here. This is our only thing left to do is just add our outer bulbs, and we're going to use we're using the red.
Show the package.
This is a Zevo, so it's actually a 168 is the size that's required for this vehicle. It's a small marker bulb, and this is just used to provide additional nighttime running visibility. This is a red one. We're going to use that on the outside. That's nighttime running.
Okay.
And then we're going to use a standard white one, which is a smaller one. We're going to use this is a same size bulb. This is a standard white one, and we're going to use that on this side. And this is the license plate. This is to actually to eliminate the license plate.
And what number is this?
This is a 168 too. It's the same size. It's the same size bulb as the outer one. Just this is a white one. This is a red one. And again, it calls for all clear ones here, but this is based on availability. This is a new bulb that's being offered on the market. Because of that, there's not as much availability. We've actually taken most of the bulbs that are available in the Jacksonville market. They're on this table here, and because of that, we have to use some red ones where we would normally use clear ones, and that'll be fine. So now that we have them all set and everything's in, these go in actually.
Hold that up again there, Matt.
This is the original. This is the driver's side rear brake light assembly.
Okay, and this is the one.
That's the passenger side. Yeah.
Okay. Hold that one up too, just real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Passenger side rear, and then once you get the bulbs in, they go pretty easily.
So right now you're just putting the harness with the new
Yeah, I'm just getting everything.
LED bulbs.
Yep, that's it. I just go in and twist lock. Actually, got that spun around a little too much. Turn it back one. Just go in and turn in and lock. All the bulbs do. Just gotta get them seated right. That's our turn signal there. Yeah, they only go in one particular side. There we go. This is our brake light, upper brake light, and that's the red one that we put in.
Upper brake light, okay.
Yep, out of the triangle, they form a triangle. There we go. Lower brake light bulb, and these are black as opposed to the gray or greenish color bulb assemblies. The brake light bulbs are black. The holders are black. Takes a little patience to get them seated. There we go. And then that's going to be our outer marker, and that was the red bulb that we decided to use. And that's it. And then this just goes through the actual rear of the vehicle. That's just a plug, a weather plug, plugs into the harness, and then these actually screw in. All the bolts pass through the back of the car and actually screw in to pull the light in. And we'll show you that. Okay. Show you how it looks in just a second. Just go through the back hole here. Plug just locks it in. This harness disconnects. It only connects one way. So there's only one right way. And then just line this up. You can feel it go in.
And that's the one that had to be recaulked because
Yeah, it had a leak along this top edge that was causing condensation inside. So we actually just applied some epoxy. Originally there was some acrylic on it, but the acrylic was wearing out, so we just epoxied it, painted on some epoxy.
and the epoxy has more wear resistance.
It's harder. Yeah, okay. It's a harder substance, and it doesn't have that flexibility. It actually just sealed it up solid. And the last thing we want to do before we get all these little screws in here is that we do want to test this. I just want to get two in to hold it in so it doesn't fall out. Alright, are the keys in it?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll go with, you can stay back here if you want. We'll go with regular test.
Okay.
Regular test would be
regular test.
lights on.
Lights on. Lights are on, yes. Brake applied is on. Okay. Try it one more time, Matt. Yes. Left signal's on. It's clicking fast because of what?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And then we do get the increased brake light when we press the pedal now, right? No brakes, brakes.
No brakes. Do it one more time.
Brakes, brakes.
Yes.
Let's see how those work.
You want me to hit it?
Oh, I don't have the lights on. Yeah, just turn the lights on. The regular lights on and we'll see. I have the lights off. Great.
Lights
Yeah,
on.
Actually, that red, we use that red marker right there. That's actually good. It provides a.
Turn the lights on and off again. I'll
your,
while I got the camera on it.
That's regular lights, and then that's just brake.
Right.
And then this is your nighttime running lights.
Nighttime running lights.
And then that's brake with nighttime lights.
Wow. Look perfect. Beautiful.
Okay. All right, that's it. Multiply that times 2.
Okay, so we're just going to just consider that the one that we took was with the, this is the epoxy you said?
Epoxy. Yep.
Yep.
We just resealed
Because
where it was leaking.
we had shorts and corrosion.
We were getting some moisture in there. Yep. And I'm actually just screwing these back in. They're
Final touches here.
yeah, just put the screws back on. These all cables on.
Just ratcheting everything down.
Yep. I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten everything up. Get it as tight as you can by hand. And then go. don't want to over tighten them because it will pull the studs out of the backs of these. So just snug is all it takes. I'm actually just using a deep well socket here just to tighten these. That's it. Just gonna come behind it. That's it. That's the extent of it there. And we got one more here. Is that a big one? Yeah. It's a little. Nope, it is a big one. There are actually two different sizes here. There's a I think there is. No, it's a small one as well. That's it. Once you're complete there, you're just going to pull the corner back up first. Just lay this as flush as you can. This comes back up. We're not done with the other side, so we're not going to tie it all the way back up, but this just ties back underneath this. Actually, this molding normally comes up first. I'm not going to do that. That normally comes up first. And then this untucks, and then you can, either way, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Whatever's convenient. So, and that's it. We're going to do the other side the exact same way. And try to get that out. Yeah. That's it.
And that's it?
Yep.